There are agendas, and there are really not. There's no pockets near the entrance. We're all at home. All items appearing on the consent agenda are voted on in one motion and vote. Generally, these items are routine in nature and do not require discussion. All items listed under unfinished business or new business are voted on separately. First, counselors will be given an opportunity for questions or comments. Once all counselors have had their opportunity to speak, citizens will be given an opportunity for comments or questions. Citizens must speak and identify themselves. Each citizen will be allowed one opportunity to speak and will be limited to 3 minutes. Finally, the counselors will be given another opportunity to speak or another opportunity to comment. Citizens who would like to speak on a topic that does not appear in tonight's agenda will have an opportunity to do so at the end of the meeting following the public comment section. And with that, I think we're going to get started with the Pledge of Allegiance. Everybody gets to look at Rick Foss. I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of
the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with justice
for all.
liberty for all.
Can I get a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Patty, can I get a roll call?
Council Morris,
Yes.
Councilor Oliveira,
Yes.
Councilor Klepak,
Yes.
Councilor Green,
Yes.
Councilor Foss,
Yes.
Councilor Frankie,
Yes.
Councilor Thomas.
Yes.
The vote is 7 in favor and 0 opposed. Mayor, we may want to ask if there's any disclosures of conflict of interest before we proceed to unfinished business.
All right. Are there any conflicts of anybody got conflicts you got to disclose? No? All right. So we will start with unfinished business, order 286-2020.
I'll make a motion to take the entire agenda by title only.
Second.
Patty, can I get a roll call?
Council Morris,
Yes.
Councilor Oliveira,
Yes.
Councilor Klepak,
Yes.
Councilor Green,
Yes.
Councilor Foss,
Yes.
Councilor Frankie,
Yes.
Councilor Thomas.
Yes.
The vote is 7 in favor and 0 opposed. Order 286, an order providing for amendment to order 65-2019 solar site lease.
I'd make a motion to table this till the next regularly scheduled meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? Patty, can I get a roll call?
Mike had something to say.
Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
Just to give one more update on this item, Steve and Bill Lee and I are talking with them tomorrow morning at 9 regarding the amendments to the lease. They have an existing lease. They propose to amend it. We've asked them to consider some other things while the amendment's going on. So that happens tomorrow, and I hope by then we'll be ready to come back to you with a recommendation at the next meeting. This is a HEP Energy lease, so it's the first company that located at our airport.
Patty, can I get a roll call? Oh, Steve. Sorry, Steve. I see your hand up, but you're muted.
To add to what Mike was saying, we may be close or we may not be close. It's not clear. We'll know something better tomorrow morning. But there are aspects of that lease amendment that I need to better understand before I can provide the council with a recommendation.
Anyone else? All right, now Patty, can we move to a roll call?
Yes. Councilor Morris,
Yes.
Councilor Oliveira,
Yes.
Councilor Klepak,
Yes.
Councilor Green,
Yes.
Yes.
Councilor Frankie,
Yes.
Councilor Thomas.
Yes.
Vote is 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
On to order 275-2020.
Approving tax increment financing district, Colby Main Street properties and related development plan.
I make a motion to table this to the next regularly scheduled meeting as well. And if we get a second, we'll let Mike and Steve explain why we're postponing again.
Second.
You want to take a stab first, Steve, or?
Yeah, let me take this one.
Sure.
Where we are on this is that we're trying to identify the limitations that we have on how to use the proceeds from this TIF district. We're working with the expert that the city's been using for decades to make sure that we don't misstep when we put the TIF into the state authorities for approval. We're meeting with him later this week, and we want to meet with the council chair and the mayor after that. So with the expert again, so that we can all be on the same page and bring back to the council the development plan and a TIF description on how the money is going to be used that is going to be solid when it goes to the state level.
All right.
Perfect.
Can I ask just a one edifying question to help me understand TIFs a little bit more? Is when you're creating a TIF, are the units that the blocks that you're using to create that TIF centered around so say there's a particular building that you want, a development that you want to put into the TIF. Can you designate 60% of that as being part of the TIF and 40% of the revenue going into the general account? Or does that have to be, a particular development have to be treated as a single entity?
Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you. The city can decide how much of the value within a TIF district it wants to capture and set aside in a TIF fund. So we can go from 0 to 100%. And I think that's probably still one of the questions about this downtown TIF. Are we committed to capturing 100% of that money that's going to be generated? As Steve said, then we decide what are the eligible uses and how to spend that money. So it's entirely up to us how much of the value we create, or how much of the value we shelter.
And that can also change over time, Tom. So we could say for the first 10 years, we want to capture 100, then 80, then 60. You can structure that any way you want.
Yeah. And of course that any year that we change that, that's going to change the valuation for the subsequent year and the tax burden that this and the revenue sharing and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
Councilor Green?
Thank you. I'm just wondering who sets the terms for eligible uses? Is that within the domain of the city, or are there state regulations for what's allowable?
Well, that's, I think one thing that Steve also mentioned is when we submit to the state, we want to be pretty sure that what we're proposing is going to be acceptable to them. Ultimately, the state has the veto power to say, those are not eligible uses within your TIF plan. But so we want to do that homework before we come back to the council with a final listing of uses and how to spend it.
And really the key is to give ourselves as much leeway as possible within the state parameters. So even if there are things that we, in the short term aren't planning on spending this money on, we still want to write it into the TIF so that if we get to that point, we have flexibility about how we can spend those dollars.
Steve made that point the other day, and it's a very good one. For instance, we can say that the TIF is going to support marketing activities for the downtown. We don't have to get into specific statements about what kind of marketing activities or how they're going to be done. But if we leave it broad enough so those marketing type things can be funded later, because we don't know all of them at this point.
Right. Yeah, and the idea would be, as Mike was just pointing out, to create a description that's as broad as possible and give you as much flexibility as possible.
All right. Any further
One,
discussion?
I guess one further note, unfortunately, the article in today's paper, print edition, had this labeled as a Colby TIF. Amy's article explained that it's not a Colby TIF. None of the benefits are going to accrue to Colby. We may think about changing the title of this TIF because it does have the word Colby in it. Steve talked about that today, and I think it's a good idea. So that may come back to you in a different name, but same TIF.
And so everybody knows that is money that will stay in Waterville. We're not splitting it with the state. We're not giving any of it to the school. It's literally all for the city of Waterville, every single penny of it. All right. Move on to a vote, Patty. Roll call.
Council Morris? Mike, I think you're muted.
Yes, I was, and yes, I approve.
Thank you. Councilor Oliveira?
Yes.
Councilor Klepak?
Yes.
Councilor Green?
Yes.
Councilor Foss?
Yes.
Councilor Frankie?
Yes.
Councilor Thomas?
Yes.
Vote is 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
All right. The last one is ordinance 21/2021.
An ordinance provided for amendment to zoning.
Move to adopt.
A second.
Second.
Can I get a roll call, Patty? Oh, I'm sorry. Do we even have any discussion on this one?
This is the daycare, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Mhm.
No, I'm good.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
Comments from the public? Mr. Cummings, is this yours?
Yes.
You want to talk about it? Say anything about it? It is your
Nope.
time for a plug.
No, we're good. We're waiting for it to be approved. So we're here waiting.
All right. Well, let's get you going then. Patty, can I get a roll call?
Yes. Council Morris?
Yes.
Councilor Oliveira?
Yes.
Councilor Klepak?
Yes.
Councilor Green?
Yes.
Councilor Foss?
Yes.
Councilor Frankie?
Yes.
Councilor Thomas?
Yes.
The vote is 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Now it's
Thank
good.
you.
You want a shameless plug now?
We're good. We're happy to be in the town.
All right.
Thank
We're
you.
happy to have you. Thank you.
All right.
All right. On to new business. Resolution 23/2021.
A resolution providing for waiver of foreclosure of municipal tax liens.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Roy.
Steve asked me if I'd give you the quick background on this, and Linda Cody did in the memo attached to this item. This is something that the city's been doing for quite a few years now, waiving taxes so we don't foreclose on mobile homes. There are many reasons why that's not a good idea for the city to do. Linda outlined some of those in her memo. The good news is, even though we waive the collection of that at this time, the taxes don't go away. So at some point, we may in fact recover those amounts. But at the present time, our recommendation is let's not take possession of it because that presents a whole new set of problems.
And how do you make sure that we recover some of that? Do you put liens on the mobile home itself?
No, we don't. But when they pay taxes, and some of them do, they just don't pay enough, we can apply that amount paid to the oldest first. So eventually, hopefully, as they continue to make payments, the oldest taxes get paid over time, and maybe they can catch up. Am I correct on that, Linda?
You're muted, Linda.
Yeah, you're muted, Linda. Yep, you're okay, Linda. Oh, you're muted again. I know that the second thing she's going to say, in that we can collect, whenever we do collect, we always apply it to the oldest tax. The other thing I know Linda's going to mention is that if mobile home, someone decides, oh, okay, I am going to move it. I haven't paid these taxes, but who cares? They didn't come after me. Well, in order to move a mobile home, you've got to provide a certificate to the state that says all local taxes have been paid. So if someone tries to sneak one out, the carrier, the transporter of that mobile home has to provide that certificate saying that all taxes are paid. Is that correct, Linda?
That is correct. I also do have one taxpayer who sends me about $10 every other month. So that's going to the oldest one, but he really is trying hard to be a productive citizen as far as the things that he's getting from the city. So.
All right, any further discussion? Councilor Klepak?
Can you give me Mike, can you give me a sense of how many derelict mobile homes there are in the city of Waterville? Like ones that are just sitting there?
Well, in this list, there are only 6, Tom, but I'm sure there are others that are not paid for 2020 taxes. It hasn't been a huge problem with a lot of mobile homes. What we have to remember is with the homestead exemption, the first $25,000 of value comes off the assessment. So many mobile homes are not assessed a whole lot more than 25 grand. So usually for most of them, they can pay that annual amount. So would you agree with that, Linda? We don't have hundreds of mobile homes that are back due.
No, we have just what's here. This is the same group every year. So, but it has gone down when the homestead goes up. The taxes have gone down and the amount of people that we have listed.
Maybe while Mrs. Cody is with us, we could just talk about the tax foreclosure date of February 12th, which applies to all other real estate. So on February 2nd, is that the next meeting? We may come to you with another possible waiver or foreclosure on maybe another property or two the city doesn't want to acquire. But February 12th is the tax due date or the foreclosure date that we have to be concerned with. Linda, I know, is doing her best right now to collect from all those outstanding ones, and she'll come in and explain to Steve if there are any out there that really present a liability to the city. Do we really want to foreclose on that property? I think the best example in all the time I've been here was the treatment lagoons at the old Wyandotte Mill on the West River Road, which is now the site of the police training range. For years, we waived our right to foreclose there because of the contamination that was there in the treatment lagoons. Once it was cleaned up by DEP, then we did take it over and have been able to do something with it. But there might be some out there that present a worry.
You're muted, Jay. But I assume you were talking to me. Mike, what's the current reimbursement rate from the state on the homestead exemption? They pay what, 70% of the taxes on that 25,000? Maybe
no, the homestead exemption is a full 25,000 unless you're assessed valuation.
But doesn't the state reimburse us for some of that?
Oh, I'm sorry, Eric. Yes. Yes, the state does reimburse us.
And do you know what percentage that is right now?
And it is at the 70% mark. You're right. And I know Mrs. Cody will remind me, this gets a little complicated, but the homestead valuation or homestead deduction is not the full 25,000. If our assessments were at 100% of value, it would be the full 25,000, but our assessments right now are at 95%, 95% of value. So 98% of value. So we allow homeowners 98% of 25,000, whatever that number is the homestead exemption.
24,500.
Okay. Not to complicate things, but that It's not the full 25. It's
Good to know, though.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Public? All right, Patty, can I get a roll call?
Council Morris,
Yes.
Council Olivera,
Yes.
Council Klepak,
Yes.
Council Green,
Yes.
Council Foss,
Yes.
Council Frankie,
Yes.
Council Thomas.
Yes.
Vote is 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Moving on to resolution 24, 2021.
A resolution providing for abatement of personal property taxes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Mr. Roy.
Steve also asked me to give an intro on this since it's something we do every year, sometimes twice a year. And as tax collector, Linda Cody has a number of different jobs. This is one of the most difficult, I think, is to try to find out where the businesses are, why they haven't paid their personal property taxes, if they've gone out of business, are they still around? And so every year we come to you with a list like you see attached in your agenda. We did this last spring also, because if you don't do this regularly, you end up with a 10-page list and it can get way out of hand. And so that's what the case was in Waterville back 12, 13 years ago. Linda came in and said, we're going to tackle this. And so she's done a great job in trying to track down payment as much as she can on personal property. So I'll just leave it there, and Linda and I will try to answer any questions you might have. It's something we really need to do to clean up our books.
Any questions from the council? None. I'll move to citizens. And none. Patty, can I get a roll call?
Council Morris,
Yes.
Council Olivera,
Yes.
Council Klepak,
Yep.
Council Green,
Yes.
Council Foss,
Yes.
Council Frankie,
Yes.
Council Thomas.
Yes.
The vote is 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
We're moving along. Resolution 25, 2021.
A resolution providing for reallocation of remaining 2013 and 2015 bond funds.
Move to adopt.
Steve, is it okay with you if I give the intro on this one also?
It happened on your watch.
Right. Okay. Well, some of this, the need to do a reconciliation, came about as a result of an IRS audit that they did on our 2013 bond issue. And they did the audit primarily, I think, for two reasons. Number one, with the money you borrowed, did you spend it on the things you said you were going to? And number two, did you spend it in a reasonable period of time and were not using the bond money to put in the bank to collect interest at a rate more than you were paying to borrow? Well, fortunately, number two was not a problem at all in terms of that interest rate calculation. We're fine there. However, we found that really we were not spending bond money, either 2013 or 15, as quickly as we should. And that responsibility falls on me at the time, finance director at the time, and the department heads. So we have all pledged to do a much better job at saying we got bond money in 2019, 2020. How are you doing with spending it, buying the equipment, buying the fire truck, buying the public works equipment, developing the shooting range, all of those things, because we don't want to be 7 years into a bond issue and still have unspent monies. So by approving this item, you'll allow us to apply the remainder, and as Steve said in his memo, the remainder of the 2013 bond money towards the principal of that bond, which I think will retire it. Aaron, I know is on, he can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that will retire that bond. And then for the 2015 bond, we want to apply the money as shown on the attached memo. And that will get us a long way towards getting all of the 2015 bond money spent. And so the only two bonds left, 2019, 2020. Now the department heads know. If they haven't spent it all, they need to come back to Steve Daly and say, here I am. I need to go to the council and ask for a reallocation or whatever needs to be done to square away the remaining money.
Hey, just for point of reference, can we just get an update on that? More so probably for the 2019 money, where things are with that and what they are, how they're progressing, and where things stand.
Sure, Aaron, you don't have that at your fingertips right now, I assume.
No, I actually don't. The library. Certain departments that are active that are spending what they've been allocated.
Okay, but you do have somewhat of a scorecard as to what we bonded for and how much has been spent.
Yep.
And Steve, if start with you, we can ask Aaron to send that out to the council, even if it's not complete, Aaron, like with the library spending. Let's give them a snapshot of where we're at.
Okay.
Councilor Thomas.
Mike, the 2013 was the one we refinanced, right? That's why we'd be retiring it, because it was
it had a
refinance of an older bond.
Yep, it had a two-part. It had an A and a B. Part A was the refinance of an older bond, and Part B were the items that the city needed to do, equipment and roads and stuff.
Which we need again. So let's see how that works out.
Right.
Anyone else? None? Patty, can I get a roll call?
Councilor Morris?
Yes.
Councilor Oliveira?
Yes.
Councilor Klepak?
Yep.
Councilor Green?
Yes.
Councilor Foss?
Yes.
Councilor Frankie?
Yes.
Councilor Thomas?
Yes.
Vote is 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
All right. Moving on to resolution 26, 2021.
A resolution providing for reconciliation of prior capital project accounts.
Move to adopt.
Any discussion?
Is there a second?
Oh,
Second.
there we go. Any discussion on that?
If I may?
Yes, please.
Okay, this is routine business that was a request of the auditor to clean up the capital projects fund where there were a number of residual balances of unexpended monies. The amount $31,541 would be added to the assigned sources and uses account within the capital projects fund so that the residual money recirculates back into funding capital projects in the future. When you look at the list that's been given to you, the math is a little bit off. The total of $31,000 is going to be added to the current balance of $223,000 to give a total of $254,000 that'll be used as a fund to cover expenses in other capital projects that will require your vote to transfer the money between accounts because you've appropriated the funds for individual projects. But as we spend on those projects, if we encounter the need to spend more than was originally appropriated, we'll use this fund to cover those costs rather than drawing from the general fund. Is that clear?
You have a discussion? Oh, Claude.
Well, just a question about all of these little adjustments and reconciliations that we're doing. Is there anything that affects the amount, anything we've done tonight or doing tonight that affects the amount of money that we have in our checkbook?
I don't believe so, Claude. This is something that we talked about this past week. And a lot of this is just little stuff. Like if we had put aside $25,000 to do a roof on one of the buildings, yet we only spent $24,300. That $700 has to go somewhere. So it's sort of, it just sits there now in its own little line item. So we just grouped it together to have. So now we have a bigger picture of what we actually have instead of all these little line item accounts.
And the auditor has characterized it as housekeeping, just to keep the accounts clear and clean. And as I said, my recommendation is just to roll it back into the capital projects fund, be used as needed going forward.
Which also saves us, we don't have to go.
Thank you.
For stuff like that. Go ahead, Clint, I'm sorry.
But just thank you for the explanation. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thanks for the question. Anyone else? All right, Patty, can I move to a roll call?
Councilor Morris,
Yes.
Councilor Olivera,
Yes.
Councilor Klepak,
Yes.
Councilor Green,
Yes.
Councilor Fox,
Yes.
Councilor Frankie,
Yes.
Councilor Thomas.
Yes.
The vote is 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
All right, moving on to resolution 27, 2021.
A resolution providing for appointing April Chiraboga to the planning board.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, April.
Tom has his hand up.
Oh, Tom, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask April to tell about herself a little bit. I know April, but I thought I'd give her a chance to say hello.
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name's April. I'm a Waterville resident. Clearly, I live just behind Gilman Place with my husband, Josh, and my daughter, Beatrice. And both my husband and I work up at Colby College in the biology department. My background is in a forestry related field, and global change and sustainability are kind of in there. I do hope that my ability and appetite for doing research and familiarity with forestry topics can be useful to the planning board with city planning. Additionally, I guess I might add that I have had the opportunity to have many perspectives in my life. I have real estate lawyers, and my father-in-law is a home developer. So I have a lot of different perspectives as far as how cities grow and what is good and what works. So anyway, that's, I guess, in a nutshell, I guess the parts of me that are relevant to the position.
And I'll say that April was on Patty and I's short list of people that we wanted for the planning board when we interviewed back before, but there were only a couple of positions, so she kind of got squeezed out. But I'm happy to have you on board.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
All right, Patty, can I get a roll call, please?
Councilor Morris,
Yes.
Councilor Olivera,
Yes.
Councilor Klepak,
Yes.
Councilor Green,
Yes.
Councilor Foss,
Yes.
Councilor Frankie,
Yes.
Councilor Thomas.
Yes.
Vote is 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
Welcome to the city, April.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to 28, 2021.
Resolution providing for referral to the planning board.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, can I get a roll call?
Councilor Morris,
Yes.
Councilor Olivera,
Yes.
Councilor Klepak.
Yep.
Councilor Green,
Yes.
Councilor Foss,
Yes.
Councilor Frankie,
Yes.
Councilor Thomas.
Yes.
The vote is 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
right. Moving on to resolution 29, 2021.
A resolution providing for support for the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston's Working Communities Challenge Initiative and associated grant opportunities.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Marvin, you want to say something about this?
Sure, absolutely. And good evening, Mr. Mayor, councilors, Steve and Mike. In sum, and I know some of you have read the resolution, in sum, the goal is to articulate enthusiastic support and interest in the stated grant opportunity, which we expect to be highly competitive. The resolution also articulates and mirrors a letter of interest that the city submitted back on December 1. This is going to accompany, hopefully, a grant application due on January 31st to the Boston Fed.
Nice. It's a good opportunity for us. Any questions from the council?
Claude.
Oh, Claude, I see your hand up.
Well, I'd just like to point out in one of the whereases, Garvin has listed the number of stakeholders who were at a meeting last Tuesday to discuss this issue. And the remarkable thing, as far as I'm concerned, is the number of stakeholders that are interested in this development going forward. I really think this is something that the city as a whole is getting on board, and I'm glad to see us moving forward with this.
I've been reading up on it. It's pretty good. Councilor Green.
Yes, I just wanted folks to know that input is, I believe, still being solicited for this opportunity. And just maybe, Garvin, if you could tell folks how they can send their input so that anyone who wants to can do that.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Councilor Green. A quick Google search or navigating to centralmaine.org/Waterville Corridor Project, you'll be able to find an overview of the initiative itself. You'll also be able to find some public input tools. As Councilor Frankie and Councilor Green referenced, we did a community workshop last Tuesday. It was very well attended. We have two public input instruments, if you will, out there. One is a SCOT or SWOT analysis. The other is a survey or a questionnaire. We would ask folks ideally for their comments to be included in advance of the submission of January 31st to utilize those documents ideally by the 27th. We'll still look at them as long as the project runs, but ideally get that to us by the 27th, or most simply, as some folks have done, call or email us as well.
All right. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Patty, can I get a roll call?
Councilor Morris?
Yes.
Councilor Oliveira?
Yes.
Councilor Klepak? Yep. Councilor Green?
Yes.
Councilor Foss?
Yes.
Councilor Frankie?
Yes.
Councilor Thomas?
Yes.
The vote is 7 in favor and 0 opposed.
All right. Moving on to councilor updates. Councilor Thomas.
I don't really have an update. Just a heads up, Patty, that Jennifer Bergeron wants to say something during community notes, so I think she's trying to come onto the meeting now.
I think I just saw her join.
Just joining right now. I see your iPhone. Claude.
Yes. I attended a Zoom meeting last night with the students at the downtown Colby dorm. On that meeting was also Police Chief Joe Massey and several of the administrators for the college. One of the subjects that was under discussion was parking for the students in the downtown dormitory. I think it was a good meeting in terms of explaining to the students what the parameters are for the city and for the college in terms of their parking. And hopefully this will start to clear some of the air around the parking issues for the students downtown. I'm very hopeful on this.
I was on that last night. I didn't say anything. I got to listen for a while. It looks like they're going to try telling their students not to park in that part of the concourse from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The school is, from what I understood, is that they are going to start enforcing some of that on their own as well. And then we have some other things we're trying to work on. So we'll see how that goes and see if it helps take away some of that congestion in the parking lot there. Mr. Daly.
Just to add to that, Chief Massey is going to post the parking lots in question with no parking from midnight to 6 a.m. And we think that is going to have a positive impact, although it's probably not going to solve the entire problem that's been the aggravation of the building tenants there. But it's a start, and we'll see how that goes. Chief Massey is very, very engaged with Colby on this, and I think he has the confidence that Colby is going to police their own.
Well, and if they don't go in between the hours of 7 and 7 p.m. and then they can't park from midnight to 6 a.m., I mean, that only leaves them a few hours to be able to be there. And beyond that, I mean, it's a step in the right direction. We've been talking about this in that area for as long as when I was on the council 2 years ago. So it's finally nice to see some action happening on that side of town to relieve some of the burden on those store owners. Flavia.
Yeah, I also wanted to say about the parking committee, the people working on the parking committee, because this is an initiative that they've really been pushing. And I know since last meeting, they did address some of these issues. And it's really nice to see that it's finally going forward.
I think hopefully, I mean, we're just talking about it now, but at some point, we're going to reevaluate that parking committee.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think it's time.
And also too, I think it's some of the issues that comes up with the parking committee. And I think now having Chief Massey on it and really addressing some of those concerns with COVID, I think that makes a big difference as well.
Yeah, I think it's good to have department heads to
yes.
In these groups. All right, Councilor Klepak.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else has received any of this, but I have been receiving a number of letters and emails from constituents about dam removal, specifically to further the historic salmon runs across Waterville through the Kennebec River. And I just wanted to share a little bit of by far the most remarkable of these things that I've received. I got this handwritten letter from a 13-year-old boy named Ben who lives in Phippsburg, Maine. He even went so far as to draw me a picture and wrote this really beautiful 2-page letter talking about his family's experience, like a generational experience of salmon, and his deep desire for us to really think about the importance of that historical industry, that the importance, the biological importance of that fish. I don't know if anybody else, did anyone else get this letter, or was it just sent to me? You all got
lucky.
it. Yeah.
I did not get one. I'm kind of upset. I want to.
I like the fit. I like the picture.
Right.
Yeah, look at that thing. He really did
just did something with one of
That's
their.
pretty awesome. Hey, can we get that on the website?
Yeah.
Go up. I think we can do that.
I think she should go. So.
All right, we're gonna move on to community notes. Jen, I know you're ready.
Okay, let me see if I can figure out the microphone.
Woo.
Can you hear me?
I can hear a lot of you.
We're gonna
Okay.
Echo.
All right, so I turned my phone off. So as a community note, I have an idea for something that I would love to do right now with everything going on in the world and our state and everywhere. I thought it would be a nice time to do a challenge between Waterville and Winslow for 4th of July. We may or may not be able to have parades at that time. And just like at Christmas time, we did the parade where we had people decorate their homes for Christmas. I think if we had people do patriotic decorations for their home and map it out where perhaps there could be a route of homes and businesses that you can see with whatever patriotic decorations they might choose. I thought this would be a good time to do something like that. And I haven't quite gotten to the point where I figured out how to do the competition between Waterville and Winslow, but I thought it would be something that I could bring up here, and maybe you all could help me figure out how to organize and who, or at least who to get in contact to start something like this.
So is the reason you only want Winslow? I mean, we do border like Fairfield.
Oh shoot, I can't hear you guys now.
So, I mean, as Waterville, I think we'd sort of compete with everybody else in the region. I don't know if you want to get a hold of like Oakland, Fairfield, Winslow. I mean, if you're gonna do it, let's do it.
She can't hear us.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's something else we can discuss. If counselors have some ideas, send them off to Jennifer.
Jay, she can't hear us.
Let's just give her some thumbs up.
Yeah.
God, could you guys hear any of that?
All of it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now I can hear you too. I just kept turning off the Zoom meeting instead. So I'm sorry. Did you?
Well, I was asking why you were limiting it to Winslow and not looking at Oakland, Fairfield, see if we can get the entire region to sort of play along.
I think that would be great. I don't have any particular reason. I just kind of thought there would be a fun rivalry between Waterville and Winslow, but certainly it could be extended to anyone and anywhere. But if we were going to have like prizes or anything like that, there has to be, I guess, some sort of limit.
All right. I think we're Waterville. We just take on all challengers.
Yeah, we need to make it more fair. If it's just Winslow, we'll crush them.
Of course.
No.
But what inspired me was I saw they're not able to do Mardi Gras this year because they're not going to have big parades and big crowds. But the people that live along that route are decorating their homes as though they were Mardi Gras floats. And it's astounding, the creativity and just the fun, and they're managing to keep like that spirit up. And I just thought, we could do that here, and it could be something that draws people from Portland or Bangor, or they say, oh my God, all these homes are decorated and it's crazy and you should go there. I mean, how many of us went to Booth Bay because they have the Christmas decorations, and you had to pay to do that. So if we had a whole bunch of houses decorated, I just think it would be terrific and a real boost, morale boost, and maybe even a boost for our economy.
Poor Rick. Rick's like so torn because he went to Winslow, but now he's a Waterville counselor.
Hey, I have two businesses in Waterville.
In Oakland. So.
Right.
We'll just stand on opposite sides of the river and fire Roman candles at each other.
There you go.
All right.
Well, my house in Winslow would be decorated, and my two businesses in Waterville would be decorated. So it'd be competing.
Well, you're at it. Can you go do mine too? Because All
I'm
right.
sure you can do something. So anyway, I just wanted to bring it up, and any assistance I can get in launching something like that, I would love it.
Jen, I'll call you tomorrow.
Excellent.
All right. Moving on to manager's report.
Bye.
Now you can hear me.
Thank you.
I had very little to report after 7 days on the job, but what I wanted to say to you all is that the team that I'm taking the leadership position with is already showing itself as astounding. And I'm looking forward to working with them all. I'm meeting with each of them over this week and next week. I'm meeting also with each of you. I met with Councilor Oliveira today. We had a very nice conversation, and we learned something about each other that neither one of us knew. She will tell you that one of the things I'm interested in is understanding what your focuses are as counselors, what your goals are, what priorities you have, and learning something about you personally and professionally. As you all know, you learned a lot about me during the 2 interviews that we had. And, you know, I'm looking forward to doing this with each of you. So I have 3 meetings a day, one-on-one, set up for the next 2 weeks, I think it is. It's going to be rather busy. As far as operations are concerned, everything is going along without any kind of disruption with the city departments. And that's my report.
You inherited some really, really good staff.
I agree, including Mike, my new assistant.
We like Mike. Mike does his thing.
Still let him answer the phones.
With his retirement.
I'm trying to do my best to fill in for Sarah. And actually, we have a candidate for that position, and I know Steve is going to be talking to her soon about coming on board. So hopefully that can be filled soon.
Do we not have anyone internally, or did we have somebody internally that could step into that role?
I don't think we should talk about that right now.
Yeah. Done deal. Anything else? I think that's it for, Thomas.
Well, it's unfortunate that we keep having these sort of the end of people's time with us while we're in the middle of these Zoom meetings. And while technically I think this may be Mike's last meeting, I have a feeling we'll be seeing him again at future meetings because I think he'll be a invaluable resource to us moving forward. And we're really lucky and in a unique position that he's still going to be here in town and available, for us to go to. But, Mike is the only city manager Waterville's ever had. And he's done a great job these last many years. Mike and I started out with a bit of a rocky relationship in the beginning, but I think over the years we've built up some mutual respect and gotten a lot of things done for the city over that time. And it's going to be, I'm excited for what is to come, but I'm also sad to be seeing Mike go. Somebody I've worked with not only in city government, but on different boards and committees as well. And I'm sure we'll be seeing each other out on the golf course.
I'm not going to say anything nice about you because you're coming back next week. You said you were coming to next week's meeting.
I promised to come at the next meeting. That's right.
All right.
But
Yeah.
I can say after being here for 7 days with Steve, I'm very, very encouraged in working with him, and any chance I can give to him or to help him succeed, I'm very happy to do that in whatever way it presents itself.
Thank you.
You've made a good choice.
All right. That seems like everything. Can I get a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Patty, I think we should give that. That's got to be like the fastest